UFC 258, our first title fight of the year has passed. And oh boy, dude. I think we got a couple of things to talk about coming out of that fight because stuff went down. And also, gotta give a shout out. We'll get a little more into this, but Julian Marquez, his post-fight interview might have been the most entertaining one of the year so far. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. This is, of course, UFC Talk. I'm your host, Ross Allen, joined alongside by our UFC correspondent and now the holder of the fourth and long Suck My Pick Championship. Of course, Blake, I think you only got 3 fights wrong the whole night. So, credit where credit's due. I lost my title, but hats off to you, buddy. I'll give you a little round of applause.
Thank you, Ross. It means a lot. It's a very prestigious award that I now hold.
It is. And one of these days, if you guys keep on subscribing to our Patreon, which you can go to patreon.com/fourthandlong, we might eventually be able to get a legitimate belt and make the loser pay for shipping fees. So we can get that to each of you guys. So I think, hey, just go patreon.com/fourthandlong. Also, if you want to help us out some more and help yourselves out and get some more money, you can always check out Thrive Fantasy. It's an app, or thrivefantasy.com, Google Play Store, Apple Store, and get started in sports prop betting today by using the promo code Fourth and Long. That's the number 4, THANDLONG, and with a deposit of at least $20, and they will match you up to $50. So that's just free money right there. And I mean, it's just go do it. It's super chill. I mean, there's almost no reason to not to. But Blake, between UFC 258, Kamaru Usman possibly making a statement and making an argument that he is now the greatest welterweight of all time. And also a little bit of a preview of UFC Vegas 19, Blaydes versus Lewis. That's coming up this weekend. But Blake, like I said, the first fight I want to get into is Julian Marquez versus Makai Pitolo. And this was one hell of a fight. What did you think of this one?
I was actually really entertained by it. Although I have to say, I can't believe you're going to leave your boy Bilal out. Not even going to give him a mention.
Well, I was going to give him a mention. That is Bilal Muhammad with a really good win over Diego Lima.
He needs to get a better opponent this next go around. I think it's time for him to get a ranked opponent.
Okay, Blake, with Bilal. Top 15, he's already in the top 15. Can he get a top 10 opponent, or is he going to be stuck? It's still kind of out of that.
I loved his call out. I loved how he called out, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name. Li Jiang. The Leech. The guy that just beat Ponzinibbio. Yeah. So I love that call out.
Oh, but you can pronounce that? Oh, come on.
But he's been around a little bit longer,
That's fair.
That's my excuse I'm going with. And then also one other shout out before we get back to Marquez fight. I wanted to give a shout out to Fluffy Hernandez.
Okay.
Hernandez, that was just a really badass victory over a guy that had previously been unbeaten and I believe was a multi-time jiu-jitsu champion in Rodolfo Vieira. So just super impressive performance on that one.
Wasn't that like a plus 3,000 odds that he was going to win in submission?
Yeah, because, think about it. You're going up against a Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist. The odds on him getting submitted are absolutely bonkers, because no one thinks that's going to happen.
And he almost did. He almost had the arm bar. I thought he was going to tap. Early in that fight.
He eventually did tap, so...
No, I thought Vieira was going to tap to the arm... or Hernandez was going to tap to that arm bar early in the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it was close. Vieira looked tough in the beginning too. He just looked like
they got gas
monster with those huge arms for a 185 pounder.
Trying to be like Paulo Costa, but not as balloony, which is they look real. But going back to Marquez, what a comeback this was. He was able to submit Pitolo with 40 seconds to go in the fight. After the first round was a clear loss. Second round, it was a closer round, but it was still a loss. It was still This fight was still definitely Pitolo's fight.
Well, not to mention Pitolo was he was mixing it in really well, his wrestling.
Yes.
It was kind of an asset of or an aspect of his game that I really hadn't noticed before, or I don't really think he had highlighted it as well as he did in this matchup, because really he was really taking it wherever he wanted. I mean, he was kind of dominating the positions everywhere they went. And finally, in the third round, I don't know, whatever Kraus said to Marquez to get him to just kind of wake up, it worked, because he went out there and he was on a mission to finish that guy, and he got him out of there. It was crazy to watch that happen. I mean, you could tell like that guy was not going to stop until he got finished or he finished the other guy. So it was a really fun fight to watch. Great opener.
Well, also let's give Marquez a little more credit. His first fight in 31 months away from the octagon, about 950 days he spent away from fighting, and he comes back and wins like this. That can't be understated, in my opinion. And the best part about this, though, is his post-fight review. I mean, first off, what kind of like ad agency or like kind of city ad agency hired him? Because he was shouting out Kansas City hard with that, so that was really enjoyable. But the best part is, Miley Cyrus, will you be my Valentine?
Yeah, that was definitely a curveball, I guess you could say.
Right?
Wasn't expecting that with his call out, but
he was really building up.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it was entertaining for sure, and he actually got a response out of her. I shared that with you on Twitter. She wanted him to shave MC in his chest hairs.
Yeah, but now the real question here, Blake, is, so he got that tweet back, and then he goes out and tweets to her to get like a little like henna tattoo of the Cuban Missile Crisis on her stomach. There's a lot of people that were annoyed with this and said almost he blew it. But my opinion is that was a power move right there, my friend. He gets a call out, or he gets a response from someone who you didn't really think you were going to get a response from, and he still demands more. I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, he didn't lose at all. He got a response from Miley Cyrus. I mean, who in the hell tweets at Miley Cyrus and gets a response besides random people, saying that they're going to do something if she responds? That's like the only time she responds to people.
Exactly.
Is if people say they're going to shave their head off if she responds. She loves that. She loves to torment people. But this time he got a genuine response from someone that's got millions and millions of followers across all social media platforms. So, I mean, in my book, he is way already winning. And not to mention, say he did shave MC in his chest, everyone's going to call him a simp.
Yeah.
So,
but imagine
you're
if
a
she
simp or you're not
through.
a simp. I'd rather not be a simp.
It's a simp or be simp world here.
Marquez proved he is not a simp, and I'm a fan.
Hey, Julian Marquez, winner of the official 4th and Long Not a Simp award. Hats off to him.
Absolutely.
Come
on the podcast anytime.
Oh, we're going to give him a hopefully.
Bring Miley Cyrus with him.
Yeah. I'll take her Twitter fans. Bro. That's cool. Yeah. I'll take the impressions. And then the other guy though, Pitolo, he looked really good and then got a bit sloppy near the end. And the weird thing is his coach actually walked out after he tapped. And then of course came back to the octagon. Can we make much out of this, or is it just a frustrated coach just going back to support this guy ultimately?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I actually wasn't really aware of that until just now. So, but there might have been something going on. Who knows? Yeah. In my opinion, Pitolo he was so close, but it just looked like he didn't have the gas tank to just finish it like he should have. And you can't take anything away from Marquez either. It's not like Pitolo just gave that fight away.
No.
He was still swinging for the fences and until he tapped, and really he just got put in a bad position. Marquez just wanted it a little bit more that night.
Hey, all around fantastic scrap though. And another fight on this main card was Kelvin Gaston versus Ian Heinisch, and Kelvin finally stops his 3-fight losing skid with what wasn't an amazing win, but it was good. And Heinisch is a solid opponent in his own right. He the help of 6 takedowns really kind of propelled him through this fight. And I have to ask, let's talk about what's next for Kelvin now, because of course that 3-fight losing streak, and now he goes and gets this win. The rankings as of recording have not been updated yet because it takes a little bit, but going to this fight, we had Kelvin Gaston being the number 9 ranked, Blake. And I want to offer you a man coming off a win against Anderson Silva. What about Uriah Hall versus Kelvin Gaston for his next fight?
A guy he's already beat in the tough finale, a guy that is really good friends with and already knows that he has no chance beating. No,
No point.
not interested in that.
No point. What would you like
I
to
mean,
see
they're
then?
homies, bro. They're not going to fight each other. They've already fought each other.
So you just think no point
I
in the
just don't.
rematch?
Yeah, they're just.
What would you like to see then?
There's no point in that.
Because
Uh,
of course, if we go up the rankings,
I loved his. He said that he wants to be the standby for Paulo Costa and Robert Whitaker. I love that.
I
think that's
love
great
that.
because Whitaker owes him a fight.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
for sure. I want
Yeah.
to see that fight at some. I mean, look at how good the fight was with him and Izzy.
Mm.
Him and Whitaker are going to be freaking phenomenal. I'd love to see him fight Paulo Costa. I'd love to see literally any of those guys up at the top. I'd love to see him rematch Hermanson.
Yeah.
Let's see who else is up there.
Maybe when
Holland is
Cannonier
already
gets
tied
healthy.
up. So I mean, I'd even say Holland, but Holland is already fighting Brunson.
Yeah. Yeah, that I'm looking forward to that. And then,
there's a lot of matchups right here in the middleweight division, man. It's
kind of booked right.
People are fighting soon too.
Would Jared Cannonier, once he's healthy, Cannonier versus Gaston?
Cannonier's another one. He hasn't fought him yet either. So I mean, there's a ton of options here. It's not like there's no options. Marvin Vettori and Darren Tiller fighting each other soon.
European championship
like said,
on the line.
Yep. Holland and Brunson are fighting each other really, really soon. So I mean, those are 4 middleweights that are going to free up in the blink of an eye. So there's so many options from the middleweight division, not only like around his number, but also up. Like I said, Paulo Costa, Robert Whitaker, one of those guys falls out. Insert Kelvin Gastelum. He is a guy that went 5 rounds with Izzy, took him to the edge of the earth, to
the brink.
So I'm really high on Kelvin Gastelum still.
Gotcha.
I think he's a really good fighter still.
Yeah, those 3 losses. We explained that in our last UFC show. They're not bad losses, and so it's nice to see him get back on track. But
like Darren Till is like the wonder boy of the middleweight division now.
Ooh,
he is just a weird stylistic fight that it seems like it just frustrates people. Mm-hmm. Even Whitaker, he was frustrated with that fight for sure.
And I keep Wonder Boy in mind because I'm going to bring his name up a little later in our last fight. The next fight, I was going to say a fighter that was able to get back on track. Now to a fighter that wasn't able to get back on track was Macy Barber versus Alexis Grosso. And Blake, you especially were saying that Grosso is no slouch. She 15, that it could be deceiving with that. She's a solid fighter. And she proved it because her boxing, look, fantastic. Some of the best boxing in the women's division in the UFC. And Macy Barber, well, she looked good. She, of course, still looked young. I think that's the best way to describe her. Young, maybe a little inexperienced. She looks like she has all the talent in the world to be able to be this fighter that we all know that she can be. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, I was actually, like I was saying last week, I was really surprised that this was the fight that she chose to come back to, just because I've seen Grosso fight multiple times now, and I think she's a really solid fighter in every area. I knew coming up to weight, maybe Barber thinks she has a weight advantage on her, a size advantage, but in that fight, you could tell like it didn't really matter. Grosso was just more sharp. She was more technical. She was just sharper with her timing. She mixed it up a little bit better. There was really nowhere that Barber had her number at. I mean, seriously, not even in the strength department. It seemed like, yeah, maybe Barber does hit just a tad harder, but she can't hit her enough to make a big difference in the fight. Grosso is just tap, touching her up. And it was kind of an ass whooping, to be honest. I mean, you could tell that Grosso is a definite level above Barber. And I think that goes to show like she has a lot to work on still.
And then, so would you agree on Dana White's statement in his post-card press conference that he was just pretty much like Barber's still a baby and he thinks she could still be really good. She's just not there yet. You agree with that sentiment?
I mean, yeah, like I just have to echo my sentiments from before. I just thought this was a weird fight for her to come back to after a torn ACL. Someone that has great movement, someone that is a proven veteran contender, like top contender in strawweight, just coming up to a division that she's probably more suited for. She wasn't a small strawweight. She was a very good sized strawweight, and she's a decent sized flyweight now. I mean, there was really no visible size discrepancy between these two fighters, in my opinion, when I saw them get in the octagon. I mean, they really looked right around the same size. So I just thought it was weird for Barber to take that fight. But I mean, all credit to her, because clearly she's a game fighter,
right?
Isn't picking and choosing her matchups. But
now,
it does go to show, like, matchmaking does have to look out for her a little bit now.
Hey Blake, what if I throw this out to you next for Alexis Grosso's next fight? Grosso versus Jessica Eye.
God, Jessica Eye just sucks. That's all I have to say about that.
Maybe with the jump, maybe she could take Eye's 8, break into the top 10.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think she finishes Eye. That'd be sweet
or
to
it would
watch.
be better for her to fight the person that beat Macy Barber in her first loss, Roxanne Modafferi.
I mean, yeah, none of those fights get me out of my...
excite you?
None of those fights get me out of my seat. I'm just not a very big fan of either. Roxanne, at least she's a cool person, but
yeah.
I really don't have a ton of respect for Jessica Eye. I just think she's just...
Most people don't.
Not fun to watch.
Valentina Shevchenko kicked any amount of respect out of her that she ever had in the first place.
Oh my God.
What?
That is just brutal. Okay. Let's go.
KO was brutal. Let's get into the main event. Kamaru. Okay. My main thing here is, in the fight, Usman was rocked early. Burns did get on him, but Kamaru Usman's chin was fantastic. And my main takeaway from this is that I've never seen I did not expect Kamaru Usman's striking to be this damn good, this damn technical. And I wasn't expecting to destroy Gilbert Burns on the feet the way he did. He put almost on a jab clinic out there in the about a couple of rounds that they fought.
Yeah, no, it was really impressive to watch. You can tell the camp switch to Trevor Whitman over there in Colorado has really done wonders for him in his stand-up game, and he's still all world when it comes to controlling people where he wants to be against the fence.
Working with Gagey,
his wrestling, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's just a beast, man. I mean, there's really not a lot of glaring holes in his game, if any.
Yeah.
I mean, 13 wins in a row now at welterweight, passes up GSP all time.
Mm-hmm.
He's a problem.
Second all time in UFC win streak.
He's a problem right now. I don't know who's going to be able to beat him, but we'll find out.
It's a scary man. It's a scary man in that guy. There's no holes, and I just gotta say, one of the biggest things I point out from the stand up is I just gotta say Trevor Whitman and Team Elevation might be the best coach in camp in the game right now, at least when it comes to the stand up, because Usman, or if we saw take Usman from the Covington fight, that was good stand up. He only looked a little better because they're both just average. It's stand up, average to slightly above average. So they're pretty much same playing field. And then we didn't see almost any striking against Jorge Masvidal in the fight a number of months ago. And now he looks like one of the better strikers in the welterweight division. The jump that he made is unreal. And I'm scared for anyone that has to fight Kamaru Usman, anyone that has to try to take that belt away from him, because I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. Not with the current people that are matching up with them, but we'll see. Maybe Hamzat makes his return and
that's a
get
big
shit cracking in there again. Who knows?
And let's talk about Gilbert Burns though, because I believe he still has what it takes to eventually become a champion. Maybe not while Kamaru Usman's holding the belt. But and he kind of, I want to see if you agree with this. In his post-fight interview, he was pretty much, quote, Garbrandt rage in the first round. So
he went Cody Garbrandt crazy.
That's the one where he got Kamaru Usman was visibly rocked. He had him rocked, and then he just kind of goes in there all sloppy and then loses it. Do you? Yeah. Is that's? I'm not calling that excuse. I'm calling that a legitimate reason. Do you think?
No, it's an observation, and I think that it holds some truth to it, but I don't think it's the sole reason he lost. I mean, I think he was going to lose that fight regardless if he went Cody Garbrandt crazy or not, just because Usman's way to, how many times did he say it, but recompose himself. It's a wonder. He really is super calm in there, but also a savage at the same time. So it definitely didn't help him going Cody Garbrandt crazy, but I think it was just a matter of time once Usman recovered a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Burns was able to finish him right there in that first round, I don't think there was any way.
No.
Usman he's just too good everywhere else.
Usman's just so damn good. And now the question is, what's next for Gilbert Burns? That's the first one I want to ask you. And a name I would like to throw out with this one, Blake. He's still recovering from a hand injury, but when he's healthy, I would like to see Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I mean Thompson. He'd probably want someone around the top 5. I was
Stephen
imagining to keep
Thompson
his
wants
number.
that. He wants that belt. He wants that opportunity. If he beats Gilbert Burns, he might be able to get that.
Yeah, I mean the good thing with Burns is there's a lot of matchups to make now. I mean,
Yes.
there's so many people that he can go out there and take care of now. I mean, there's Leon Edwards if he wanted that fight, but I'm sure he's going to fight before then.
Way do Michael Chiesa? Does Chiesa deserve a spot that high?
He could. I mean, it depends. For that, I think Chiesa would have to call that out. I don't think Burns is going to be asking for a fight like that.
He's not going to drop out of the top 5.
The only fight that Burns would probably be asking for would be, whoever's right underneath him. And I don't know off the top. I think that's Leon, right?
As of right now, or at least at the time of the fight, it was
Colby.
Burns, Covington, Edwards, Masvidal, and Thompson.
Yeah, so if I was Burns, I'd be calling out Covington hardcore.
Even though
trying to clear out that one.
It looks like it's going to be Leon and Colby if Leon still fights.
So I'd be trying to get the winner, and that's not bad news for him because that's coming up
soon.
Is it March?
March.
Was it March or
about
April?
Mid-March.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Because he's going to be on a medical suspension.
March is going to be such a good. Oh, it's going to be such a good month.
Burns is going to be on medical suspension for at least a few weeks, I'd imagine, after seeing his face yesterday. Yeah. So let them fight. I would say, give me the winner, give me the loser. Who cares? Unless they're going to be fighting for the title, obviously.
Exactly.
But I doubt it though with the Masvidal talk. So that's, if I was Burns, I'd be gunning for the winner of that fight, or even the loser. Either way, it doesn't matter.
And now another thing with Usman though. So after the fight, Kamaru Usman called out Jorge Masvidal, says pretty much have unfinished business, and that he was, quote, feeling generous, and he wants to be able to fight them on a full camp, maybe to silence if there were any doubters. Personally, Blake, I feel like Jorge would be extremely and absolutely outmatched in every facet of the game, and I don't think this would be a close fight. But with that being said, there's a few guys that are really maybe the best chance in knocking off Usman right now, and those are Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, and Jorge Masvidal. Out of those 3, who has the best chance of taking the welterweight belt?
We've seen both Covington
and Jorge
and Masvidal already. Mm-hmm. So I mean, out of those 2, I think the Covington fight was more competitive, but I mean,
I had Covington 44 rounds to 1. At
least Masvidal made it to the end is an argument you could say for him. Edwards, we haven't seen him fight in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's not really his fault.
No. Totally. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
It's just how it's been. But yeah, I mean, if I wanted to see if I could pick a matchup for Usman right now, it would probably be Covington. That's probably I wanted to see him have the toughest fight. Just because Covington's he's a badass, man. Minus the whole gimmick and all that stuff.
And we'll see if the shtick is still lasts.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But I just think that fight was so freaking close. I mean, it really was.
So damn good. Oh, that was a fantastic.
But either way, you can't get mad at Usman for calling out Masvidal because I mean that's the money fight in that division, right?
Blake, we all know the saying, Blake.
Yep.
We want what you do, the easiest formula in your next fight, the easiest fight for the most money. And that's exactly what the fight with Jorge Masvidal is. That's just smart. That's just a smart decision making. That's all that is. I'm not going to knock him.
Can't get mad at him for that. So, I mean, and look at the lightweight division. Who are they fighting? Like your boy said.
Hey, Dustin Poirier versus
Conor
Nate
McGregor,
Diaz.
Dustin Poirier trilogy.
Or that one too. Either trilogy or either.
No, that you saw that got announced, right?
Is it official? Well, I know it was.
It's official. Dana White said trilogy is happening.
May, June. We talking about that?
It was in the summer, I believe he said.
It's Ooh, international fight week in June, maybe. Ooh.
And that's probably going to be for the belt.
It has to be. A Dustin Poirier fight has to be for the belt. Hey, but for Dustin, might be, well, besides Nate Diaz, might be the easiest fight for the most money. So, good for him with that one.
We'll see, man. We shall see. Remember, yes, Conor is still he's still a badass.
He's still really damn good. And he almost beat Dustin Poirier in the first round. Let's remember that. And Blake, that leads me to one of the next things, bigger discussion points I want to talk about is we've been seeing it, and we kind of talked about it earlier in the show. Is Kamaru Usman the greatest welterweight of all time with this win over Gilbert Burns?
Not yet. I think he still needs to beat a couple more guys to really prove himself as the best. But yeah, he's getting really close. He's damn near cleaned out all the top guys now. I mean, he's got Covington on his resume. He's got Masvidal. He's got Burns now, an ex-teammate, which is that's, in my opinion, really, really impressive because you guys know secrets about each other. But I think I'd like to see him clean out just a couple more guys in that division. And then, yeah, we can go ahead and call him the GOAT. But I mean, just from the guys that he's fought so far, you know what's crazy is he has fought Leon Edwards. I totally forgot that. He fought Leon Edwards in 2015.
That feels like forever ago. Well, that was his first year in the company.
That was I think his second fight.
Yeah, that's
he fought Haider Hassan on the Tough finale in July 2015. And that's when he won the welterweight tournament and got performance of the night. Man. So that's when he won Tough.
That's insane.
But yeah, I mean, just the guys after that, not super. Honestly, I'm being a hater.
Yeah, I'm being a hater. Leon Edwards.
He's beating pretty much everyone.
Sean Strickland,
Gilbert Burns,
let's give it Damian Maia, Rafael Dos Anjos, Tyron Woodley, Colvin Covington, Gilbert Burns. Blake, I'm just going to say right now. I mean, wow.
Who else does he have to beat?
GSP still has the most title defenses. He had 8 title defenses in, and he has 1 loss in them. The thing is, though, Kamaru Usman has more, the longer win streak, longer win streak in the welterweight division. And
he was on an 8-fight win streak before he could get the title fucking shot, dude. That is so crazy. He was getting no respect.
Right.
But I mean, hey,
Blake,
it is no one's fault but his own for that.
Should have been louder.
Like, let's be honest.
But also the thing is, Blake,
dude, I don't think you were a fan, bro. When like the ML Meek time, when he was fighting ML Meek in 2018, he did this whole like 30%, like I was fighting at 30% or whatever, and it was just the trashiest decision victory that you've seen. It was super boring. That was his thing, bro. Is he would fight to dominant, boring decision wins, and that's why I feel like he got this rap around.
That was a Jorge fight too. That was a Jorge fight.
Yeah, and that he went back to his roots in that fight.
I know he had the broken nose.
Even the Tyron Woodley fight. I mean, it wasn't the most entertaining fight in the world. He just controlled the shit out of him.
Dominance. It's absolutely dominance. And Blake, it's for all these reasons.
I am
more than willing to say right now, although it could be a better argument with one more win, maybe a win over Colby Covington and Leon Edwards, or another dominant one over Jorge Masvidal. But Blake, while GSP as a career has the better career and is a better fighter than Kamaru Usman, I'd say within just the welterweight division, I'm gonna say that Kamaru Usman's the greatest welterweight in UFC history. I'm
not ready yet.
I'm not ready yet.
Just because he hasn't had the performances to back it up yet. Just the complete amount of. I mean, he's had. Don't get me wrong. Colby Covington fight, phenomenal. Gilbert Burns fight, phenomenal.
Which is now 3 title defenses.
That other
he has 5 more to go.
The KO punch he had on Sergio Moraes, phenomenal.
Yes. I
need him to have like at least 2-3 more highlight reel finishes, and then I'll be ready to say, okay, yeah, this is the dude.
That's fair. I was lenient. I was lenient the night of the fight. Yeah. I was lenient the after he won. There was like I got a text from a couple friends like, why is Kamaru? He just broke GSP's record. Is he the best welterweight? But then I was like, I don't know about that. I was kind of like pushing it, but now I've accepted into my heart Kamaru Usman, the greatest welterweight of all time, and it's very close.
Not yet.
It's all good though. Let us know what you guys think about that one. I would love to know your comments. Also, one of the best ways to do it, go check out the poll on our Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, or go over to Instagram at Fourth and Long Radio. Check out our story polling that. I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, because it's been a hot button topic over ever since that fight. So I want to see what the fans think as well. See who they agree more with, Blake, whether it be me or whether it be you, because that's always fun to kind of talk about. And now to cap things off, Blake, let's just take a little look at UFC Vegas 19. Blaydes versus Lewis, a UFC heavyweight matchup with a lot on the line, a potential title shot on the line. Of course, they won't be fighting the winner of Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. They'll be fighting the winner of Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones, which is going to happen later this summer, as announced by Dana White recently. So we still have a little bit to go. Jon Jones is number one contender no matter what happens. I'm okay with that. But some of the biggest fights that I want to point out here, Blake, a fun one on the prelims is a guy that we're talking about in our interview with the man, the myth, the legend, Justin James, Drakkar Klose against Luis Violent Bob Ross Pena. This could be a fun one. This could be a fun one right here. I always love Violent Bob Ross, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't seen him fight in a while.
Well, he had the suspension from USADA.
Yeah. Wasn't it Pot?
It was Pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got that crazy ass Nate Landwehr. Isn't he that guy from Tennessee or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
He's a psychopath. I love him.
It's going to be a fun one, right?
Chaz Skelly is fighting. He's another one that's always fun to watch.
I really want to shout out a possible an up-and-comer in the middleweight division, Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes is a guy to keep an eye out for this weekend. But I think besides
your boy Tom Aspinall.
Hey, Tom Aspinall. Andre Arlovsky. That's a fun one. Tom Aspinall. Was he 9-2 right now too? So he's getting up there. So that's
a stiff bump in competition right there.
Right. If he gets a scalp like Andre Arlovsky, that's going to do big things for the career. I mean, Andre, of course, he's still on the tail. He's on the tail end of his career, but he's had
some good performances.
Exactly. And
Jared Gordon.
Oh, Flash Gordon, baby. And I want to, Blake, the one I'm looking forward to a lot is this one right here. It's going to be Aleksei Oleinik, a guy with 59 wins in MMA. Okay, so it's just stupid number, against a fairly new guy to the UFC heavyweight division, guy that got his he made his debut in the summer of last year, and the guy that has a lot of talent in Chris Daukaus, because Chris Daukaus, he's a big dude, but
who's his brother?
Kyle Daukaus, he's a middleweight or welterweight fighter. I believe it's middleweight, but he debuted UFC 252, which is Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier 3 back in August. He won a first round knockout there. He had another knockout against Rodrigo Ferreira in round 1 in just 45 seconds. So this dude has heavy hands. He has cinder blocks for fists, and his hand speed is insanely quick for a guy of his size. So this could be a fun one if it stays on the feet. And of course, Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis. A lot of people like to hate on Curtis Blaydes' wrestling style of just call him leg humper. But we've seen what he can do. He's a dominant fighter at 14-2. We saw what he did against.
If you let him get on top of you, he's going to kill you. So,
i.e., Alistair Overeem a couple years ago. That where he turned his blade,
split his whole head open,
turned into a fountain, turned into an absolute fountain. Where Overeem couldn't even be there for the decision because he had to go to the hospital.
You need to get stitched up.
Then also on the other side of the octagon, you got my balls was hot Derek Lewis, and he's coming off a good win in his last fight. He had his most recent one was against Aleksei Oleinik. Then he Ilir Latifi decision win, but then he knocks the hell out of Oleinik in just seconds into round 2. That was back in summer of last year. That was back in August, and this is a really good fight. This has the potential to be this has a lot on the line. Maybe Second, so not a. It's not going to be a next in line because that's John Jones, but it's going to be a next in line. Probably.
Yeah.
I just gotta feel where you leaning
Second
with
or
this
third
one.
line.
Where you leaning with this one?
I mean, you're going to be after John Jones no matter what.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough for me. Derek Lewis has got the knockout power, but I think Blaydes. I think Blaydes has the just the makings to just suffocate anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and being a wrestler and just being a guy that's we've seen him grind out decision wins before. I have a feeling that Blaydes is going to be able to dominate Derek Lewis and just kind of, I don't know, overpower him, I guess, so to say.
That's fair. And now with this card, though, I'm really looking forward to it. This is just a good stretch of fights that we're going to have. I believe is it the card after this? Is that Rosenstruck in Cyril Gane? Or is that a little more down the line? That's soon, though. That's really soon. So there's a lot. The point being, Blake, there's a lot of stuff happening with this UFC heavyweight division. Chris Daukaus has the potential to get into top 15 with this fight. And I'm just super excited for this one. And I want to know what you guys think. Whether it be in the comments, Twitter, Instagram, or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Let us know what your most anticipated fight of UFC Vegas 19 is. Also, let us know.
Not the co-main event.
I mean, it's fine. Like,
no,
do you
it's
want...
disrespectful.
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with. I don't think that's a co-main event right there.
It's disrespectful.
I'd rather have Olnick and Daukaus in the co-main. Much rather prefer
disrespect.
That. What do you mean disrespectful for them? That
for the fans, bro. Like, come on, this is your co-main event. Like, what the hell? This should be on the prelims.
Yeah,
I would literally rather have freaking. I would rather watch
Vieira and
I'd rather watch Eddie Wineland and John Castaneda in the co-main event.
I'd rather, or like I said, just
I'm being completely like. I'm not saying that I would want to see that in a co-main event in general. I'm just saying that's like the worst option on there besides that co-main event. And I'd still rather see that
co-main event. I have no idea why.
Because they're trying to build. You're trying to build it. Ketlin Vieira has one loss, even though it was a vicious loss.
Yeah.
And Yana is just a big girl, so I think they're just hoping that one of these days someone can get some. It doesn't take much in those divisions. You just got to get a win or two, and then next thing you know, you're getting fed to the Lioness or you're getting fed to Shevchenko. So,
hey, fair enough, UFC. I like where you're going with this one. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it for us on this edition of UFC Talk. Blake, thanks for joining us with this one. Also, once again, just want to reiterate, congrats on taking my title. It goes to you. So, respect. You get to hold that for a month, and so hats off. We'll see if you can actually get a title defense this time.
I'm the best.
You still haven't had a title defense, though, so it's okay.
I'm the best.
I'm still the best. Check us out, Twitter, Instagram. Also, these great interviews we're going. Hopefully, we'll be having some more on soon. And then before we get off, Thrive Fantasy, let's give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, Ray Rodriguez. The shout out to for all your card needs. Follow at the Big Bat Box on Instagram. Shout out to Neil Wiley and his YouTube page. Chosen Problems, and then last but not least, thank you to Ryan Watson for your donations. Also, once again, patreon.com/4thandlong. Blake, enjoy the hell out of this big time heavyweight card coming here. Maybe take a little nap before the main event. With the co-main. Let's just not worry about that one. And we will catch you guys in the next one.